it's like things are happening on such a large scale because of the digitization of business that you could be building a business in the wrong direction for 3 years and think you're in the right direction. And all of a sudden, Starlink just goes, forget about your internet business, right? And Tesla goes, forget about your new vehicle, right? And PayPal goes, right? That's what's happening today.
Part and parcel with this whole new world that we're describing is not only to be able to have a point-of-sale system using your phone so you can buy and sell things, but we're going to soon live in a world where Elon Musk is providing Wi-Fi to the world.
That's right.
That in conjunction with a point-of-sale system in your pocket, what can't you do?
That's very true.
This
is the future.
That's never been seen before. That's never happened in the history of mankind, where that many people get to buy from Amazon that never got a chance to buy before, or Alibaba. Can you imagine what happens in the next 20 years when people who are just now getting a laptop and a phone now have their own companies? If they're transacting.
I saw Tesla's worth more than GM and Ford.
Well, yeah, they're outselling everybody right now in North America.
Tesla is worth more than GM or Ford. Now that's just a reality that we woke up to today.
Took time.
It took at least 10 to 15 years.
Took time and brilliant minds and some very special people.
And who's to say he didn't get lucky, whereas a bunch of other just as equally talented people just had the wrong person, right? The wrong this, the wrong that.
Well, I don't think Musk was the first to introduce electric vehicles. He was the first one to really take it.
Had it.
Well, everybody had tried something, but Musk was the one who really kind of,
Well, it was the regulations in California that forced everyone to return their GM electric vehicle.
Oh.
They had to return the vehicle. Imagine you bought a electric car. It's working beautiful, right? They forced you, they repossessed the first electric car that people loved. Yeah, I forget what it was called. They did a documentary on it.
Oh, God.
So
the electric car is here.
No pistons, no valves, no exhaust. It's all electric and fast.
It's very powerful. I mean, 0 to 60 in less than 9 seconds is pretty good.
But the EV1, General Motors' pollution-free, rechargeable car, is being scrapped.
I love it. I love it. I'm so sad. I'm not going to have it for the rest of my life.
GM's car of the future becomes a relic of the past.
General Motors wants to take the EV1 out of commission, but some very dedicated drivers are resisting. Here's Bill Rediker.
And we are not going to just stand here. We're going to keep demanding that they build these cars again.
Anybody else feel that way?
GM says that won't happen. It has pulled the plug. EV1 enthusiasts are furious.
These are perfectly functional cars that are being taken off the road.
Every single person who's driven a car wants one. I can't even tell you the price of gas. I don't know what the gallon of gas. I could care less. It doesn't affect me.
It will when the last of the leases expire later this year. Most of the returned vehicles have been donated to museums, cannibalized for parts, or sent to this junkyard. They'll be crushed and recycled.
When GM introduced the EV1, California was setting the toughest auto pollution standards in the nation. 10% of all cars sold here this year were to be zero-emission vehicles. But California dropped those standards after being sued by automakers.
Oh, God.
So this has happened before. It's the political, legal, and regulatory environment is like the fulcrum upon which emerging markets rise and fall.
Right on.
Right? And so, I mean, we saw that Musk, right? He got here, why? How? What obstacle? 2 years ago, what was the obstacle? The Security Exchange Commission on that Dubai deal. Remember? $420 a share, I have an offer.
To be honest with you, I wasn't following that part.
Okay. There was a time where people were worried about the financial stability of Tesla. They still are.
Right on.
Right?
Yeah.
So Elon Musk tweeted out that the Saudis had $420 a share to offer them, to provide them the runway to complete their vision. And the SEC said, hey, that's a violation. And they had to go to court. I think he paid $20 million.
Jesus.
Yeah, $10 million to settle, to use his Twitter. And there's this whole thing is, should Elon Musk be using Twitter and all this kind of stuff?
It's a strong complaint, and the allegations lay out fairly clearly that the key tweet that we all focused on several weeks ago, that funding secured, was false. But then what's interesting is the SEC complaint layers on additional allegations about further tweets he made during that day on August 7th, and then also the confusion that that caused within the company. They allege that the head of IR assumed that the tweet was accurate and was telling people, yep, there's a firm offer out there, there must be. So when you get through the SEC's allegations, it really paints a very compelling picture of not just one tweet, but a fraud that potentially unfolded over hours and even days.
So you're saying the SEC has a strong case against him, and it's going to be a tough battle for him?
Well, it's important to remember, of course, these are only allegations, but if the allegations do have facts and witnesses and documents behind them, it does to me look like a strong complaint, yes.
The deal. Michael, you're coming at this from an interesting perspective because under Mary Jo White, who you worked for, you guys drafted the SEC rule on social media, tweeting when it comes to stock prices, which sort of allows Elon Musk to do what he does. Did you ever imagine we'd be here so soon?
But the goal of Tesla really is to get to a mass market car as fast as possible. So right at the beginning of Tesla, I published this blog, which was tongue-in-cheek, called the Tesla Master Plan. And it's really simple. It's just we were starting out with high price, low volume, then go to mid price, mid volume, and then the third step is low price, high volume. The Roadster, our sports car, was the first part of that.
Right.
Now with the Model S, we're mid price, mid volume.
Okay.
It's kind of like, it's priced similar to other premium gasoline sedans. And then the third step is high volume, low price, and we're already beginning the design work on that.
All right. Thank you so much for coming on, and congratulations on the award. It's a big honor.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
Right? So, but he was able, somehow, some way, to integrate his electric strategy with his political, legal, and regulatory strategy. Like, for example, I think there's this a state in Michigan, a state in the U.S. that has just agreed to allow Tesla to do direct-to-consumer sales without a dealer. Do you know how much political will that takes?
I can imagine. I don't think dealers are very happy.
So you can imagine how, like, it's not about the electric car. Look, it's almost like getting from here to another galaxy is tougher than doing this political, legal, and regulatory negotiation. Because what happens if there's a new government that comes into play? Now you have to start again, and now you're starting again every 8 years? So imagine 20 years ago, Uber is the ultimate political, legal, regulatory disruptor. We're not going to talk to anyone. We're going to operate. Good luck. Today, it's not necessarily the case. People are still trying it, but other people are actually getting a little further ahead by finding a middle ground between being essentially an anarchist and a centralist.
Using leverage again.
And just understanding that there might be a path to victory instead of just a victory moment.
Right on.
Right? And so, and nobody knows. It could be what was Tesla's path to victory? You could do a whole documentary on the political, legal, and regulatory story of Tesla.
Oh, I bet.
Right? And you could do a whole story on how their competitors who failed misstepped or maybe couldn't afford their legal bills.
Oh, that's that should be like almost like a whole course in university on just